Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam. I am a public relations and marketing professional with a passion for social justice, voter advocacy, and culture. And tonight, we're going to have a very interesting conversation with just 9 days left. 9 days. Everybody say 9 days. 9 days. And this week's conversation is entitled "Disinformation, Qualifications, and Lawlessness in Politics 2024." And I tell you, I don't know quite what to think about these next 9 days. Trump is on television right now in Madison Square Gardens in front of 20,000 people telling all kinds of lies and what have you. And it's so overwhelming. Everything, just like Vice President Harris keeps saying, that it's just exhausting. And it is exhausting. I'm exhausted. But I want you all to listen in carefully, participate in the chat. I want you to share the video, because in these 9 days, if we can change somebody's mind, if we can get them motivated to vote, if we can do anything to change the course or, further our cause, we need to do that. Okay? All right. So let me bring up our guests. Our guests tonight, they're all some very savvy women, very staunch politicos, and they've got a lot to share. So first up, I have Miss Latrice Davis. Latrice is a native New Yorker and serves as a senior court clerk in the Queens County Criminal Court. She is an appointed member on the Queens Community Board 6, and she's very active in her community. She's served on the Aging, Social Services, and Disabilities Committee. Currently, she serves on the Land Use, Housing, and Landmarks Community. Latrice was named the committee chairwoman for those without shelter in April 2022. Latrice is a former reporter and online editor for the Associated Press. Welcome back to the show, Latrice.
As always, Pam, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Next up, I have Dr. Lee Young. Dr. Young teaches a variety of subjects ranging from English to communication and sports management. She has done a variety of academic presentations ranging on topics from the intersection of music and writing, athletes, and social responsibility, and she has interest in theology. She has athletes and social responsibility, and she has interest in theology in the context of societal issues. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Lee Young.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pam, for having us.
Absolutely. Sorry for messing up your intro.
It's all good. It is all good.
Last but certainly not least, I have Renee Schalk. Renee was once living in the state of Texas when I met her, and she was running for political office there as well. Now she's back home in her native state of New York and loving it. She is a practicing doula and is excited to help limit the number of motherless, Black and brown, and socioeconomically disadvantaged children. Renee's political ambitions are still intact, as she is a staunch Blue Democrat and has been volunteering in New York in various campaigns. Welcome back to the show, Renee.
Thank you, Pam, for having me. Of course, it's my pleasure to always be on one of your shows. Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate you guys so much. I tell you, I've been gone for just 1 week, and I'm like, oh, Rusty can't read or nothing. Anyways, y'all, let's jump right into it. I think watching Trump before this show was not a good idea because he got me a little upset. with all the lies he was telling. So let's start on this disinformation business, okay? And we're just having a free flowing conversation. And those of you in the chat or people listening, feel free to chime in or whatever. We keep hearing about black men, black men, black men. They're not down for Kamala. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. And yet, statistically, it shows that they're voting for her. Majority of them are voting for her. Everybody's not going to be, we're not a monolith as black people or as women or any particular group. So what do you think that's all about? That constant talk about black men. What's that about?
I would like to offer a theory on that. Every now and then I still log on to Twitter. I don't call it X, I call it Twitter. I did see Le'Veon Bell. He's a former NFL player, and he had on a T-shirt that said Trump or the Tramp.
Oh my God.
So I think that's one possibility as to why black people think black men are skeptical in terms of supporting Harris, because when you see former athlete Antonio Brown, it was him and Antonio Brown. And if they're wearing T-shirts stating that and you hear them bring up Willie Brown, then yeah, people, again, they think we're a monolith. So they think, oh, well, all black men must feel that way. I can't say that they do, but that's one possibility as to where that skepticism is coming from.
Okay. Who was going to say something? Was it Julie?
Renee.
Yeah, I honestly don't believe it. I don't believe the hype. Mainstream media polling is just not accurate. As a person who studies sociology in college, my understanding is that, and statistics was part of what I had to learn. Polls and statistics can be manipulated depending on how you ask the question, depending on the methodology that you use, depending on the samples pool that you use. So I tell people all the time who are panicking and want to jump off the cliff, don't look at the polls. You cannot read the polls. The only poll that matters is the one after we vote. Then you can get an idea where people are and where they were. I don't believe that black men are going to vote in lower numbers. And if they did, they're not going to be the ones that's going to be the cause of a loss. There are more white men who have left the Democratic Party to vote for Trump because of Kamala being at the top of the ticket.
So, really?
Yes.
Oh,
Kamala does not have the same number of white men saying that they're going to vote. Now, once again, these are polls, but sometimes polls, if you're very specific about what polls you're asking, they might be a little bit more accurate. They're saying they will not vote for a woman. So the misogyny is not necessarily with black men, if that's what people are thinking. It's with white men more so. So I would beg to differ that she's going to lose a lot of black men voting for Trump. They might sit home, some might sit home, but I don't see them gravitating towards Trump.
Well, one thing for sure that I heard that Michelle put out there, she said, "Listen, you guys, she set the case. I mean, she's a real good closer, and she talked to the men. I think she targeted black men, but she talked to the men. Period. Your mother. Your mother was running things, and that's probably what we need to get things going." Dr. Young, Lee, what do you say?
Well, I was having this conversation with a gentleman, one of my coworkers, and he was just saying, similar to what Renee just said about the misogyny. We still have some men who do not want women in the pulpit.
Yeah.
I know when I lived down in South Florida, there's the Primitive Baptist denomination, and they do not allow women in the pulpit. Women can fund the church, they just can't be in the pulpit. So that's still their mindset, which is crazy. I remember, and so having said that, I also remember a couple. He was a pastor. She was first lady. She couldn't even do her trial sermon in her own church, the Primitive Baptist Church. Before that reason, all of that being said, to some extent, not to a large extent, but to some extent, that's what this guy said that he feels is wrong. And then he also mentioned too, a few years ago when I call him Drumpf, because that's his immigrant name, Drumpf. Let's just be clear. Let's just
hearing that.
Yeah, I'll send you guys this awesome article that I saw a few days ago. I'll send it to you all. But nevertheless, yeah. So with him, he as a second generation immigrant, he just needs to understand that as well. Hold on a second. Oh, I thought my screen had cleared up. Yeah, so he's a second generation immigrant himself. And the fact that he's so anti-women, but yet he says he's going to be women's protector and all of that stuff. And I'm like, women, please do not believe that.
He's a rapist.
It's the okie doke. Please don't believe
Well, here's my question. It's a rhetorical one. When I hear men say that they're going to protect women from who? From what?
Right.
Thank you.
Right. From what? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so much, but you know what it is about Trump, I think that people are enamored with is that they say, oh, he's so strong. Oh, he's so this. It's theatrics. It's
not even that. It's an illusion. There's nothing strong about him.
No. Yeah.
Like my thing is, okay, like I said, I hadn't planned on voting yesterday, but it just turned out I didn't. I went ahead and I casted my ballot for Harris and Walls, as I said I would do all along. And, the rally at MSG is today. And I've seen stickers, like I was in the East Village yesterday on 3rd Avenue and 14th Street at the bus stop. And there was a Trump Vance 2024 sticker. And we've had this conversation before, Pam, about how New York is not this bastion of liberalism that some people seem to think it is.
Well,
I think the fact that, keep in mind, where is Trump from? He's from New York.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the fact that he's having this rally and he had the turnout that he's had, I think what I've come to realize over the past 8+ years, is that these people that I thought were on the fringe is bigger than I thought. And not just that, but the fringe is comprised of people I work with, my neighbors, my coworkers, like people I interact with on a regular, if not daily basis. I think I am not as naive now as I was 8 years ago about Trump. I mean, I still feel like until all the ballots are counted, who knows how this race is going to turn out. But I'm at peace because I know I voted and I did my part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also too, my coworker also brought up the point that some of them still think that stimulus check came directly from him, all because his signature was on it.
Right.
Yeah, and which I think, to be honest, I mean, I think that's kind of illegal because it came from the Treasury Department, not out of his pocket. So let's just be clear, so I really think that's to some extent. But again, that was X number of years ago.
Right. And essentially that it from that time that they got it, they're giving him kudos over what essentially pans out to be 75 cents a day for that.
I saw that on one of you guys' pages, I believe. A guy did a clip about that, but which is so sad. But the thing is, what have they done for themselves? That's the thing. And it's not to say I'm devil. Let me be honest. I'm not bashing anybody, but that's why I'm so pro, go to the military after you graduate from high school, go to college, do something. Don't rely on, or otherwise one is just setting oneself up to believe, and somebody like him is going to come along and be a savior, and I think that's why he likes the poorly educated people, because he can pull the wool over their eyes.
I know, and it's really frightening at how ignorant so many people are That just drives me bananas. Renee, before we go to you, I want to talk about Zachary's comment. He talked to a black man today, and obviously Zachary is a black man. And he said it was supporting Cornel West, which, if you vote for a third party candidate at this late date or period, it's really throwing your vote away. Vote for the other side. When I asked him which of Cornel West's policies would benefit him most, he told me I was trying to shame him, and it showed my ignorance. Please, Zach, you showed him how ignorant he was. I mean, okay, please.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to AOC's comment, I think earlier this week when she stated, with all due respect to Jill Stein, it's good that you are talking about climate change, but to do it every 4 years, that's and put herself on the ballot every 4 years. That's truly, just like you just said, throwing a vote away.
Well,
but here's my question regarding Jill Stein, and it's no disrespect to her or any other third party candidate that's out there.
Exactly.
But, like, running for office costs money. So who is financing her campaign? Who is financing Cornel West's campaign? Where is the money coming from? Because running for office, even local office, from my own observations on the community board, is not cheap. You need money to pull this off. So I want to know who's bankrolling them.
Jill Stein,
and what their motivation is.
Jill Stein is a plant. Jill Stein was somebody who was Jill Stein was a plant. She was somebody who was sitting with what's that, Mike Flynn? And all of them.
She was also having dinner with Putin too. Let's be honest. Not too many. She's in a picture having dinner with Putin.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I mean, and that all came out after the Hillary Clinton election.
Yes,
you're so right, Renee. You're so right. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. That is at that dinner too. They were all there together.
So I want to circle back to men not voting for Kamala.
Yes.
And so again, I'm going to reiterate that. You know how I feel about mainstream media right now. I think they are overcompensating for Trumpster, and basically is asking Kamala to do tricks, jump through hoops. But meanwhile, Trumpster is just standing there. I can't remember the commentator that said that what you don't understand is all Trump has to be is a white man with money. That's it, to run for office.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do anything.
Exactly.
So again, this is all about, and I'm going to bring it right back. These people are voting for them, except for maybe the people of color, are voting because he's white. That's it. They're voting because they do not believe in a society where we give or we vote in the power of somebody of color, and definitely somebody whose gender is female. So, there's two things going on here. What did he call it? Misogynoir?
Yes.
So
that's so true. That's what Michelle was alluding to last night. She has to jump. She said, y'all, and this is how she phrased it, y'all forgive me, but she has to jump through this hurdle. She is as I saw in one group, she's the only one who's ever been this qualified.
Yes.
She has the experience on the legislative, judicial, and the executive level.
Yes.
And of course, some young Black men are upset because of how she was doing her job of putting people in jail for, various offenses in California, but that was her job, she was just doing her job. But then the other side of it is this: if they would only do their research, she also created programs that, if they were low-level offenses, to reduce their recidivism rate.
Right.
So again, as I just saw someone just post, the lack of knowledge. If they did their research, they would know that.
That's right. That was Delta
Girl.
Delta girl. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
They should
yeah.
take a page from D.L. Hughley. He had to apologize. He apologized
He
on
did,
stage.
and I went to see DL, and he did. He and every show he apologizes, and he says this whole thing about God. He's a real man. He's a real
Yes.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. He sure
real.
did.
But let's be honest too, that people know and don't care. They don't care. We got to remember that most of these people who are staunch Trump voters are those who will be willing to go and vote for him this time, are not voting for him for policies or qualifications or anything like that. They're voting for him for other reasons, and it's probably cultural. That goes for some of the men that left Biden and instead of going over to Harris. It is what I don't like about this race. It's not a normal race. It's not.
Mhm.
We don't have two normal candidates. We don't have two qualified candidates. We only have one.
Mhm.
But we keep
Mhm.
pretending like we're dealing with a normal election, a
Right.
normal
But
candidate.
see, here's the
That's not
thing,
the
Renee.
case.
You could make that same argument for 2020 as well as
Mhm.
2016.
Oh yeah, for sure. He
Exactly.
had
Again, like
not.
I was naive. Like I underestimated Trump until it was too late. And I own even though I voted for Hillary in 2016, I didn't take Trump seriously until the day after the election when it sunk in that he won. But
I think we learned our lesson in 2020, and that's why we got the White House back. And I'm going to say this: Kamala is going to win. It's just about by how much. Because what also happened with the shifting is the white women that were supporting Trump, they're pissed. They are done livid. So they will be voting for Kamala, whether they're, if they
I hope
care
you're
about
right.
I
Dobbs, if
pray
they care
they're
about
right. The
Dobbs,
white women are the
Mhm.
largest voting bloc. They
they're
are.
pissed.
They're the biggest voting bloc. Listen, let me say this. Okay, Clyde Allen, that is my cousin, and I see that he's backstage, and it says that your devices aren't connected, Clyde. So I just want you to know I see you, but you're not connected. Okay, just so you know, I see you. All right, let me see what Zach says. The Republican Party has propped up Cornel West to siphon out black voters. Yes, 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 that's what that's about. You guys, Shoei Howie, she is in the state of Michigan, and she's in a very red area in the state of Michigan, and she's been having fights over yard signs and everything. So she's always got something to say.
So somebody in one of the groups, the other groups that I'm in, they
Uh-huh.
said that somebody took one of their yard signs out for Harris Wall, so that she fixed them. She said she put another sign with all this glitter on it. So I was like, good, good for her.
Yeah, the Daily Show did a nice skit on it. If anybody wants to look it up about yard sign and how Democrats fight over yard signs versus how Republicans fight over yard signs. It's pretty funny. It's on the
Yeah, I
Daily
love to
Show.
see that.
Yeah, I'll try to share it with you guys.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with what Zachary said, and that's so true. They vote for Trump because he hates who they hate, and
right,
that's so true.
he
right.
gives them permission to be open and outward in regards to their sentiments. That's all.
Yes, that's
Like,
it.
because again, basically, his rise to power gave them permission to come out of hiding. Like I said before, I would
Mhm.
just shrug them off as, oh, they're part of the fringe, and now it's like, holy crap, the fringe is bigger than I thought. And in regards to the 2020 election, yes, Biden won, but it wasn't a landslide. The fact, and I've said this to Pam before, the fact that that election was as close as it was, and the fact that even with this election, it can go either way. It's an indictment on America.
It is an
Mhm.
indictment on America. It really is.
Mhm.
I mean, the dude is a convicted felon. So tell me, riddle me this. So he's a convicted felon. If he becomes president again, or even if he doesn't, what's his punishment?
Well, my question is, why isn't he in prison? If he's a convict, I'm not saying you're wrong. He was convicted of 34 counts of whatnot, but given his status as a convicted, he in prison. Because I imagine if he was black like me, he would not be hosting a rally at Madison Square Garden right
Not
now.
at all. Not
Right.
at all.
Right.
No.
I
So
don't.
that's what I want to know. Why isn't he in prison?
Right.
You know, and speaking of that rally in Madison Square Garden, I call it the Fourth Reich rally. Everybody should tune into that and run to the polls tomorrow and vote blue all up and down the ticket.
Yes.
That rally is absolutely crazy. They
Yes.
just called Puerto Rico a piece of land in
I
the
saw-
middle of the ocean, a piece of garbage.
Garbage. She called Puerto Rican garbage. She did.
Yes, the whole island. He said it's
Yes.
just it's a garbage dump in the middle of the ocean or something.
That's
crazy.
right. That's what he said. And that's my thing. All of these Hispanic, Latin American, however y'all define yourselves, I don't know the proper term. I'll probably get it wrong. Whatever. Y'all better pay attention. It's not, listen. And that Wasasami dude that's Indian, he thinks he's white. Y'all need to stop with this crazy stuff. This is crazy.
Well, the thing too, and I think it's probably going to be airing on PBS throughout this entire week. I just happened to be up the other morning at about 2, and it was on PBS. And there's this show called Voices for Latino, how both parties have just been trying to court the Latino vote and all of that in various parts of the country.
Right.
And it was really interesting. I want to say Soledad O'Brien was hosting it, but yeah, it was really interesting. But yeah, and then when John Kelly came out last week and made the comment, again, John Kelly is not just, John Doe up the street on the corner somewhere. John Kelly, 4-star general, and these people still don't believe him. I'm like, wait a minute, this John Kelly worked directly with him. And he said that, he made the comments to the effect of $60,000 to bury the young lady who was in the army. And he said $60,000 to bury a blanking Mexican. Those were his words.
Yep, those were his words, and he said he wasn't going to do it. And guess what?
And did not do it.
And you know what's interesting? Mark Meadows, who was from the state of North Carolina, who was I guess he was his chief of staff. Reported that. I think what's happening is Mark is trying to cushion his blow for his punishment, for his role in the insurrection or whatever.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah. Let's see. Been able to. Why is he even running? I can't.
Because there's a base out there that'll support him. Again, the people that I would think are on the fringe is bigger than you think. Underestimate them at your peril. And this goes back to another thing that you and I have talked about, Pam. Assuming that Harris wins.
Okay.
And I hope she does, but assuming that she wins.
Yeah.
If the Republicans retain majority of the House and they regain control of the Senate, what is her plan for governing? We've had this discussion, and I think we need to keep that in mind because, say the Senate races. I've heard, according to the polls, Cruz is in danger of losing as the incumbent. But guess who else is in danger of losing? The incumbent in Montana. So, I mean, we have to keep these things in mind.
Brown in Ohio, I think Sherrod Brown in Ohio is.
Sherrod Brown, yes.
I tell you, and it's so, that's the thing about presidential elections. When I'm trying to educate people, you have to tell people you have to vote in. First of all, you need to vote in every single election.
Right.
Every election matters. The dog catcher, the water board, the school board. I mean, really and truly, here in North Carolina, we got a real fruitcake that stated that Obama should be murdered. It's crazy. She's running for our state superintendent of schools. I mean, it's horrible. And you already know about the black Nazis for running for governor. Already our lieutenant governor here in North Carolina, we've got some real fruitcakes, okay? So you got to be strategic and know that whole ballot, and you have to vote. You have to vote and consider that the president, our people can only do what we allow them to do, and we have to vote in people for our best interests.
You know,
Well,
Latrice,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You have a point, Latrice, that they're coming out of the woodwork more.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the one thing I like. I'd rather know you and see you coming
Oh,
than
yeah.
to not know you.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'd rather know you. Now, wear your MAGA hat so I know who you are.
Exactly.
I'm in agreement with you on that one, Renee. I say this on social media all the time. If somebody wants to tell on themselves, who am I to stop them? And as we've all seen, before the pandemic, before the recession, before the millennium, these people have been telling on themselves. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have.
But the thing too, going back to Pam's point about we have to vote in all elections. People have to also understand the phrase that all politics are local.
Exactly.
All politics are local. And then, that's why I'm forever indebted to my 9th grade civics teacher. She drilled in us the significance of governing and government and all of that. She just made us learn all of that, and I'm so thankful. And then now this guy wants to do away with the Department of Education. Why? Because he wants to continuously turn out poorly educated people. He doesn't want people to critically think. He doesn't want people to be educated at all,
Right.
and that's
the biggest danger. The biggest danger is not just the ignorance, but what I like to call willful ignorance. It's one
Right.
thing if you don't know any better, but it's like in this day and age, with the access to information that we all have, we all have it. So it's like there's no excuse to be this ignorant, but here we are.
Right.
Yes.
That's so very true. And, I love President Obama, don't get me wrong, but if he ever said anything awry, I'm going to go research it. I'm going to go research whoever is in front of us saying this, and what have you. I'm just going to.
Well, you have to. I mean, think back to 2008. And I remember this because I was out of work at the time. And when Lehman Brothers collapsed, John McCain got in front of the cameras and said, quote, "The fundamentals of our economy are sound." And he was threatening to pull out of the debate that was set for a few days with Obama. Obama was like, "No, I'm going to do the debate whether you show up or not." But that quote and his decision to put Sarah Palin on the ticket with him doomed McCain's campaign. But when he said about the economy being sound, mind you, I got laid off from the Associated Press in late 2007. So I'm thinking to myself, if the economy is sound, why am I having so much difficulty finding a job?
Yeah.
Between 2007, between the time I got laid off from the AP and the time I got hired for transit, that was 6 years. I was not unemployed. I was what you would call underemployed. So I took whatever odd jobs I could get. I was a tour guide. I was a coat check girl. I was a home attendant. I worked for the census. Like basically, if it was a legitimate way to make money, I did it. And I wasn't doing those things because I wanted to. I was doing those things, piecing together multiple jobs because at one point, a lot of jobs would not hire you full time. And if they gave you part-time work, they made sure that not give you more than 20 hours a week, because then, hey, that meant you're full-time and you're eligible for benefits. So again, I had to piece things together. And it's like, okay, if the economy is sound, I shouldn't be going through this.
Right.
And mind you, it's just myself. Like imagine if I had a child or if I had children or if I had health issues, and, what have you. I mean, this is nobody should have to live this way. Right. And so I knew then that, that he wasn't cut out to be POTUS.
Right. Listen, we got to get into this issue. Zach, I'm glad you brought this up about the Muslims who are now in Trump in Michigan because he gave them his word he would stop the war. Guys, y'all don't know that the dude will say anything. He's a salesman. Muslim people, he sees them, he can't stand y'all.
Well, also, not to cut you off, but think back to when Trump was president. What was his first course of action? The ban of the airports.
The Muslim ban.
Yes. The ban at the airports, the ACLU had to step in, literally
Yeah.
go to the airports and say, stop this nonsense.
And
Right.
here in
How
Michigan,
people have short memories, again, willful ignorance.
Wilford, I mean, and I know that, and listen, that situation in Gaza is just horrific.
Mm-hmm.
It is genocide, and I'm sick of it. I am
Mm-hmm.
absolutely against it because Bibi Netanyahu, he I don't even want to go
Well,
down.
see, the thing is, the other day, what was I listening to? I want to say The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell the other night, and he played a little soundbite that he said that Trump told Netanyahu to do whatever he wanted to do.
Mhm.
Now, again, do these Muslims know that? Again, going back to what Latrice said about willful ignorance.
Mhm.
I guess he thinks that he's going to protect them some kind of way.
We got to get them knowing about that. They got to know about it, Zach. Y'all got to do something in Michigan to get them knowing. And she,
Mhm.
like I said, she's in Michigan too. Yeah, if you diss the D, you dissing all of Michigan. And
Mhm.
y'all know he stayed on that podcast for 3 hours and was late, and the people were out
Yeah.
cold and
Yeah.
all that. Traverse City, right now in Michigan, it can get cold. This time of year. Yeah, let's see. Let me check.
While we're waiting, I want to circle onto education.
Yes.
You have to remember that the GOP, the Republicans, are being very strategic. If you notice, they're attacking the educational system because they want to keep the population down. They've done a good job dismantling the public school system years ago, which resulted in uneducated people in this country. We're for educated women. We're savvy, smart, whatever. We do research. We know how to research. We know how to go find things. That's too much work for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, it's too much work. They're intimidated. They don't know where to go find the information. Sometimes if you look at these ballots, there were 6 propositions on my New York City ballot.
Oh, yes.
6. And if you don't know how to read them, you might misinterpret them. You might not understand what they're for. You might even know what a proposition is. We need to get civics back into our public school education, start teaching people what the importance of citizenship is, what that means to be a good neighbor, what it means to be a good American, how to maneuver through these systems. It's changed a lot now. It's not the same when our parents, we're not just bubbling with pencils and pens any longer. People don't even know how to use the scanning machine. They
Not
don't
at
know
all.
the process of how to go
Not
get
at all.
or to look up the ballot, who's on their ballot. And then when they do, they're like, who are these people? It is too much for most citizens to do that extra work. That's why I share, and I'm in so many circles, political circles, so that I can get information out there that's easy to digest, so that people can pass it on to other people who might not have the same strengths and investment in politics like we do. So you share it with other people who can share it with other people. I share it with all my family members, and they can either read it or not. One thing they know about Renee, I'm going to post something about politics, and it's going to be factual. So you either pay attention or you don't. But I'm going to keep throwing it at you. One day you get it. And then I close out with, sometimes it's just too much for people to do because of their lives and what they got going on. So what I do is I try to give them easy stuff. Just vote blue all down your ballot.
But that's what I was.
Let me simple for you.
Yeah.
Do y'all have voter guides in North Carolina, Pam? Because in New York City, we receive voter guides.
We have a voter guide that has the picture of the candidate and all of the factual information. Is bipartisan. But see, here's the other problem I have with trees is that our critical thinking. Critical thinking is not critical anymore. Dr. Young, educator. I know these kids. Something's awesome.
And I was going to say, Latrice, you may know how to go get that votes guy. But some people are not going to take that extra step to go get it. I'm
True.
sorry, but unless we make it a requirement in school that everybody registers to vote before they graduate, you don't have to vote, but you got to register if you want to graduate to get your diploma. That should be a basic.
That's
I
agree.
agree with you. It's funny you mentioned that, Renee, because when I was in high school, yeah, you didn't have to register to graduate, but I was born in January, so I registered short right after I turned 18 while I was still in school, but was about to graduate. And again, like it was, I don't want to say it was a given, but it was yeah, like if you wanted to like I remember, again, I was born in the middle of the school year. So like one of my teachers, Mr. Herman, I think his name was, he was like, yeah, if you just turned 18, you want to register to vote, here's a card. Like,
it's just like if you want to drive a car, you have to have a license.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you gotta go through a series.
If you want to be a citizen
That is
of the
true.
United States, you need to register to vote. Period. Point blank.
Exactly.
This should be mandatory.
Yeah, and I know with me, I don't have political conversations in the classroom, but all I will say this, I will just ask the students, have you registered to vote? I will say that because I don't want to be accused of she's telling me who to vote for and all that stuff. I'm like, what you're not gonna, as Steve Harvey would say, what you're not gonna do is say that Dr. Young said vote for no, we don't do that. But so as long as you're registered,
Right, and that's all I'm saying. That the requirement should be that you register to vote. That's it. I mean,
That's it.
Yeah, you have to
exactly.
take a party or you have to go vote. It should be you take civics class. In order to pass civics class, that you understand how the system works, you have to register.
Right.
And you get an A.
Simple. Yeah. We have that too here.
And you can opt in to vote or not, but at least you register. We ain't got to chase you around the country to convince you to register.
I see Latrice's voted.
Yeah, I'm holding up my voter guide.
Yeah. I don't have mine with me. It's probably in my car, but yeah, because I voted. Listen, I want to share something with you guys that's been showing on the air on all of the major football games and all this. They're running this ad about Kamala Harris and this transgender prison medical thing. And we got to get the truth out about that. And the Lincoln Project did something on it. And I want to share this with you all. I want it in this video so that you can share this so we can see it. Let's see. Okay. Right. All right, here it is. Okay, Lincoln Project co-founder Rick Wilson on the org's new trans ad and his strategy for the next 13 days. Okay, so that doesn't click on. Okay, so it says I watch a lot of football, and that means I've been subjected to a horrendous ad by former President Donald Trump that inexplicably makes transgender prisoners' gender care a campaign issue when it doesn't even rank in the top 50 concerns of voters, at least according to my scorecard. Trump blames this travesty on, quote, on Vice President Kamala Harris. And I got it, meaning I realized the audience for this ad was bros, macho bruiser guys. Trump thinks going after trans inmate care makes him more of a man to these folks. And I'm afraid to say that it's probably working. I kept wondering when someone was going to come along and trash this ad. And that would be me. Well, someone did in a magnanimous way. In a new ad, the Lincoln Project has set its sights on the misleading attack ad from Trump campaign that wrongly targets Vice President Harris over gender-affirming care for inmates. And Trump's ad claims Harris supported a policy that allows federal prisoners to receive gender-affirming surgery, a point designed to stoke cultural fears. As we reported yesterday in The Advocate, a recent New York Times fact check revealed this was actually a policy enacted during Trump's own administration in 2019, a fact conveniently omitted from his absurd rhetoric, an offensive and false ad. And here is the, let me see, let me find the ad. They created the ad and I could click on it. That is, oh gosh. Oh, here it is. Okay. Let's see. Is this it? Y'all, I'm trying to do stuff. Trying to play the ad. I thought it was okay. Now see, when I did this before you guys came on, it worked. And now it's not working. Oh well. At any rate, at least I got it on here because I wanted you all to
go back. Can you go back? I thought I saw something. Can you go back to the previous screen, previous page?
see. This is the problem when they got all these ads on the page as well. It's hard to. And so I was supposed to be able to just click that ad and I saw it before. Okay. At any rate, guys, it's in the Advocate. If you Google it, you'll be able to see this this information. It's in the Advocate. So if you share this video with somebody, you should be able to see it. I want you guys to.
Well, I think that's part of their platforms against a good number of Democrats because Hawley in Missouri, right across the river from me, he is making that part of his. He's running for the Senate again, and he's making that part of his counterparts or his competition's argument attack against him. You know, that he is for trans funding trans operations and things like that. So I think that's part of their in certain, let's just say in certain parts of the country. I don't know if it's happening in other parts of the country, but I do know it's happening here in the Senate race, which is crazy, you know, because like these people have children. Why would they want something like that for somebody else's child? You know, that doesn't make any sense at all. Again, critically think.
Critically thinking, yeah, just like Trump was telling people that if your kid went to school as a girl and then he comes as a boy, what are you talking? No, somebody clapped back and said, "No, you picked up the wrong child." That's what you did.
Exactly.
I would like to speak to the point that Terry Allen is making in the comments.
Yes.
I think young people are definitely motivated to turn out and vote. And I think the motivation is they don't like what they see. They don't like they are like a lot of us, they're concerned, maybe even scared about the direction that the country is taking. And now that they have agency and they have a voice and they have a say in matters, they're going to use that voice. So I think young people are definitely motivated.
Yeah.
And as far as the ads go, it's funny you mentioned that because my coworker, he went to visit family out in Pennsylvania recently, and he was telling me how, like, they're bombarded with ads from the Harris and Trump campaigns. And he was telling about the commercials he saw, and it's funny because in New York, we're not seeing any of that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we get in North Carolina, well, you would think it's part of the Bible Belt. We get, oh my God.
Same
These
here.
commercials that you're telling us about, we have not, well, I shouldn't say we, but in New York, I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, it's playing here.
Say this, that the transgender ad it's only working with the people that want to buy into it anyway. It's not converting any people.
Which again, he uses that degree of fear, and which really with that especially with that evangelical demographic, you know, I'm like, what Bible are they reading? Because the last time I checked, Jesus said, "Fear not." How are y'all so fearful? This guy just comes in and just, you know, attacks everything that you even are concerned about. and they're fearful of every single thing.
Every
I don't understand.
Right. You guys, anybody that I want you guys, wherever you are, to thumbs up the video, and especially if you're on YouTube, and please, wherever you are, share the videos. We just have to do whatever we can to get people motivated to vote. We got to get them to vote. This is one way. Ladies, let's talk about qualifications. Get more into qualifications now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to talk about Vice President Kamala Harris's qualifications?
Well, again,
I have no issue with her resume. I've never had an issue with her resume.
Nor have I. Yeah, as I have said, I think we
all know that's not the issue anyway. We all know that's not. It's a euphemism. It's code, but the issue is not her resume.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. I mean, and quite frankly, I'm sure we all have sat on search committees for various positions, and you look at somebody's resume and everything, and then if the person starts operating erratically, that person is going to get fired. This guy, town hall a few weeks ago, he starts dancing. Come on.
Yeah.
So let me just make a little joke about this. Actually, Kamala Harris is overqualified for the presidential office.
You're right about that.
If you would vote for that,
period.
She is way too qualified. Let's just say that. But I'd rather have a too qualified than that guy up in the office.
Well, let's just say this, and I'm just going to be as we say, keeping it real. I'm like, I would not want to run for president. You got to be in. Just the other day, she was in the morning. She was in one state. The afternoon, she was in another state. That even I'm like, I can barely drive over to St. Louis for 20 minutes. So you think I'm gonna sit up and be in all of these places?
She's got the white women commentators on MSNBC saying Kamala has just made 60 the new 40. And it's only for 20.
Yes.
She is doing it. She is doing it.
Yeah, I agree with Judy. Judy said that Hillary was overqualified as well. I remember President Obama saying that during the DNC when Hillary was running. He said Hillary was more, because by that time Hillary had been a senator. She had been, of course, First Lady of Arkansas, First Lady of the United States. I mean, was in tune to all of the issues. I mean, again, but it just speaks to the bigger picture. We as women, we have to jump through all of these hoops and hurdles to prove ourselves.
Right.
And then it may not be enough, because the idea that this election is as close as it is, and as you mentioned, only one of these two presidential candidates are qualified to be in the White House. And it's a no-brainer that the qualified candidate is Harris. Yes. And I want to speak to something, like, given my background in journalism, how like two major newspapers made the decision not to endorse.
Yeah.
The Washington Post and the LA Times. Right. It's their papers. I mean, but I think they're telling on themselves with their decision making.
Bezos is telling on himself.
Yes. Well, I was listening to Alex. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Renee.
That's okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. The board is not happy with that. I mean, what's his name? Capehart, Jonathan Capehart on his show. He's on the board for Washington Post.
He sure is.
I would be amiss if I did not say this on my show. He basically said, I do not stand with that decision, and I will not keep my opinion in the dark. He is, I mean, journalists are coming out all over the place saying they don't understand this and they're not happy with him, particularly the people on the board. Now, I don't know if I'm ready to give up Amazon yet. I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
I know, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, golly.
I don't have a subscription to that, so I'm good for the LA Times. But I mean, Amazon is being a single mom with triplets and stuff. I need them sometimes. But, but the point is that they're not. The journalists are not happy with it. Neither are their boards and their op-ed people. They're just not editorial page people. They're not happy with this. So maybe this is staying once Kamala wins and people start, recognizing and coming out and saying what they want to say about them. Maybe that'll affect how they behave in the future. I don't know.
Well, I was listening to Alex Witt's show yesterday on MSNBC yesterday morning, and she made a comment that, or not her. I'm sorry, someone on her show made a comment to the effect of Bezos was trying to talk with Trump about some deal with Blue Origin, so he did not want to come out and because the was ready for the endorsement was ready for Harris. But he didn't want to hurt his feelings.
I'm sick of these people.
I'm like, nobody better not ever say anything about we as women getting in our feelings anymore, period, after this craziness.
That it is not about feelings. They don't want them getting their wallet and their bank account. Let's be real about that. This is about their bottom line and how greedy they are.
But see, okay. Now, with that, the craziness for me, look in Project 2025. He wants that uneducated workforce. He wants that uneducated population. But guess what? That uneducated population is going to have an adverse bottom line on these businesses. They're going to go belly under, if he happens. Well, preferably he won't, but, should he win, they're going to go belly under. Because they're going to be hiring uneducated folk, if they even hire at all.
Right.
So, it's going to have an adverse impact on their bottom line because nobody's going to be able to afford to buy anything from them or anything. Right. So corporate America needs to really, really take a hard look at why they're supporting him.
I want to show you all something on about, as we're talking about qualifications, I got to show you something about why Trump is not qualified. And I want to share this with you, that this marketing executive for The Apprentice, what he said. Hold on.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Mark Cuban, yes.
Okay, here it is. I helped create a monster.
I saw that.
Renee, cut your mic off.
You were in charge of branding. Star, you're fired. You're fired. You're fired. Fired. Thank you. Thank you, Donald Trump.
God, I remember that so well. Even the money stuck in my head. I used to watch it all the time. And it's so hard to imagine for that reason today. But Donald Trump, he wasn't always so polarizing. In fact, he once had a pretty broad appeal. I mean, turn the calendar back about 20 years? And Trump was a pop culture phenomenon, largely fueled by his hit NBC reality series, The Apprentice. Well, now a former top NBC marketing executive is pulling back the curtain and expressing his regrets for propping up the Donald. In an op-ed for U.S. News and World Report, John D. Miller writes, "I want to apologize to America. I helped create a monster." Miller admitted NBC's fluffed up image of an ultra successful businessman was, quote, highly exaggerated and categorized it as fake news. He also offered up some behind the scenes details like Trump's alleged pitch to have a black versus white season of The Apprentice. Miller says his first reaction, WTF. Joining me now, the man who wrote that op-ed, former NBC chief marketing officer, John Miller. John, good to see you. The op-ed really thought-provoking. I mean, can you tell us about the Donald Trump you knew back in those Apprentice days and how you spun his image?
Well, the conceit of the show was that he would be a successful businessman and that people were trying to do that. The idea was you didn't win a date, you won a career. And the show, I didn't produce the show, but I did produce the promos for the show or lead the team that did the promos for the show. The whole idea was that you would get a chance to be with a top business executive and then you would win a prize. And then for a full year, you would be with him. And the thing is that not many CEOs actually had the time or the desire to have somebody that was a reality show star come on and be in their inner circle. Donald Trump had no problem with that. He had the time, he liked the adoration. And so in order to make it successful, we had to make sure that the idea of you were going in for a big businessman. And in truth, he had bankrupt 4 of his businesses and was not all that successful. But in order to make the show a success, we had to make him as successful as we possibly could, and that was the conceit of the show. And when he was just a businessman and it was just a TV show, that was one thing. We were doing it for television. Quite honestly, when you're promoting television, you exaggerate an awful lot of things. As I said in the article, we're making mountains out of molehills all the time. We did that. Sometimes they were good shows, sometimes they were bad shows. But when we marketed them, they were always the best show you had ever seen, until, of course, you had seen it. And in this particular case, as we're now only less than 20 days to the election, I simply felt it was very important, pursuant actually to your last guest, who talked an awful lot about the economy, where people were thinking that Donald Trump was an expert in the economy, when we effectively made him seem like a great businessman when he was really a small businessman that had a bunch of different LLCs. And if they went bankrupt, he could protect them by making them sort of weeding them out. And to a large degree, it was a creation for a TV show. And we were very good at it. And some people say, well, I didn't see the TV show. And I said, well, I bet you saw the promos.
Sure.
And the promos were like little messages that I called little fake news messages that covered America like a snowstorm.
Okay, so I hope that fixes it for some people. It's smoke and mirrors.
Well, first of all, I think the OJs, I was making some notes to myself, OJs and Huff and Gamble need to sue him to get their money back for misrepresenting their lyrics. Money, 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 money. Stop that. They really need to have him now. His tag song now needs to be the Backstabbers, because that's what he does. Backstab people, period. That's what he does.
But I had to put that out there. I wanted to put that in this video so that when you all share it with others, they can see some actual factual things that about these candidates with both, what people are really, what they're really all about. And he is smoke and mirrors, and tonight in Madison Square Gardens, he talked about how low IQ Kamala was and how she can't talk and think. And all of these things he's saying about her, and she's an attorney.
But he's talking about himself. That's
right.
The
projection. Yeah, right.
He's talking about himself. I mean, anytime somebody wants to intentionally steal their academic records, I show my students my transcript and let them know, don't let this mess happen to you while you're in college. I show them. I'm proud of my bad grades because I intentionally let them know, do not mess up. That's why.
Also, in spite of your bad grades, you overcame that obstacle to graduate, which is the goal. And it's funny you mentioned Trump stealing his academic records and whatnot, because again, most of us have failed a class or two, or maybe got less than a C in a class or two, but we still got our degrees. And the thing is, something like that is very easy to verify in a job search, like whether or not you graduated from such and such an institution. And given how Trump lies so easily about everything, I often wonder, does he really have an Ivy League degree?
He got his daddy paid for it.
Well, and that I read recently that his sister supposedly did his work for him.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Not at all.
The sister.
Isn't that how it normally goes behind the scenes? Women are doing the heavy lifting but not getting the credit.
Yep. And Alan says it right. Yes, Van Jones did say it. He said
yes.
He flawless, while he gets to be flawless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so true. So very true.
What I love about Kamala Harris and the whole thing that he's calling her out of it, she is driving that man crazy. You can tell by each rally he does, he etches it up more and more to think that she gonna pop. She'd be like, I don't care what you say over there. She is driving that man to an early grave. I'm telling you.
Well, I don't know if she's driving to an early grave, but I think what it was the Republicans were not prepared for Biden to step aside.
Mhm.
Correct.
They weren't.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
this is the deal. Because what they thought, Trump still wasn't prepared for Biden to step aside because he would never do it. He was like, oh, Biden's never going to give this up. So they didn't have a second plan. He's never going to give this up. Now, Biden, you know, is a totally different character. What I think the Democrats were trying to do was get rid of the whole ticket. They wanted Biden out, but they wanted Kamala to go with them because they wanted who they wanted in place. Biden was like,
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Renee, because
that's like this ain't happening on my watch. If I get out, Kamala's going to be the top of the ticket, and that's why Kamala has it. Because Schumer and Pelosi and all of them had their other plan. They wanted Biden gone after the debate, but they didn't want Kamala at the top of the ticket because they didn't.
I'm glad you brought that up because I too have my suspicions about that, and this is why I think what the Democratic Party did. And again, Pam and I have had these discussions. My issue with the Democratic Party is I think that sets a dangerous precedent by doing what they did to Biden. I mean, because for people to all of a sudden complain about his age, it's like, well, Biden was old in 2020. You knew what you were getting when you put him in the White House. So to make an issue of his age to me was extremely disingenuous, and it sets a bad precedent. And here's the say: who's to say they won't turn around and stab Kamala in the back after one? Assuming that she wins, who's to say after one term they won't knife her in the back the way they did Biden?
Right.
I don't think they would, but if you all get a chance to, and I'll hopefully if I can find it, I'll put it in the group. Jonathan Alter was on Colbert the other night, and he really kind of put it in context as to how this happened with regard to Biden seemingly stepping down. And he said it started with, Nancy Pelosi, because they've been friends forever. I mean, Biden was in the Senate forever.
Yes, he was.
They had that relationship that she could go to him and talk to him. And then they ended up, Alter said that President Obama, President Clinton, and Schumer, all of them came around and coalesced. And it wasn't, based on how he explained it, it wasn't that he was forced, but they just really put it in context. And then what happens? He gets COVID. So he was really, really, not feeling well at all. So, I'll let you all sit and what you all think, decide that.
Please share that. But the other thing I'm going to say, he was presidenting, and he was president like a beast.
Yes.
And being old, he was still making deals, doing
yes.
this, doing that. So yeah, he might not be perky on the campaign stage, but he was president. He's got the best presidential record of any president thus far.
Exactly.
Thus
I
far.
got an issue too with talking about age, because if we're blessed, we all gonna get old, right? If we're blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other blessing is to get old, and if you're in your right mind.
Mm-hmm.
And Biden is definitely in his right mind. He knows what's going on, because you know what he did. See, that's the thing about old folks. Don't play with them, because he said, y'all think y'all gonna jump my girl, but I'm gonna say who I want. And he made that boss move. That was a boss chess move. He wasn't playing checkers. He was playing chess when he did that and put Kamala up top there like that, as she should have been.
But then here's my question. If things had not played out, because the $1 million question I still have is, okay, yeah, they wanted Biden out and they were going to try and sideline Kamala. Who were they putting at the top of the ticket?
I think they were going to try to put like Gavin or somebody like that. That's
Gavin.
But Gavin Newsom said himself he was happy being governor of California. He wasn't running for president.
Trust me. Trust me, he would have went. Okay.
Did you see, ladies, did y'all see how Gavin Newsom and Pelosi were at the DNC convention and were cacking with each other? They close as thick as thieves. Yes, they were thinking Gavin Newsom or somebody else, but they were not thinking Kamala Harris.
No, I agree with you. I'm not disputing that, but what I'm saying is that Gavin Newsom said he didn't want to be at the top of the ticket. So if you're saying that they wanted to elevate him and he's like, nah, because I got a recall I'm dealing with, who was going to be at the top of the ticket? That's my question.
Newsom, let me say, Newsom, of course they all say that until they're asked, until somebody else pushes them out there. I guess I'll have to do it because nobody else is stepping up. He was playing that whole okie doke that everybody is about when they trying to get on the race.
It was just a game, Latrice. It was, he did, and he has a great poker face. A great poker face, by the way. Listen, Showy Howie has put this in here twice about a cartoon version of the project. Oh, that's 2025. You know what? Now I just realized that you were right. I think I did see it, girl. I saw it, and I know that it exists, but I haven't read it. But I heard it's supposed to be pretty clever.
Yeah, I've seen it too. I have seen that cartoon clip.
To break it down. What did you think, Dr. Lee, about it?
I liked it. I mean, it was so simple, you know. It didn't go over anybody's head, but it just really animated it. And it just showed, it was kind of on the format of I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill and that. But it just really got to the heart of the matter. And it just talked about how, things were really going to impact, because that project is going to impact everybody.
It's already, some of it's already been implemented, the way they've been rolling back all of this money for our schools and starving our schools. And and then they were saying that, okay, they claim that this money is for everybody, but the poor people aren't taking advantage of the money. Why? Because they don't have the luxury of the transportation issues of getting their kids across town to these other more treasured or valued schools. Whereas if you put the pot of money and make your public schools great, nobody, it's part of everybody's system.
Right.
It's a great equalizer. We're not going to have a segregated school system again. That's the issue with and also bear in mind our lovely former President Carter is the one who founded our Department of Education.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes.
President Carter.
Because he wanted it all under that one umbrella. That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do is form private schools with public funding. That's basically what they're trying to do.
That's basically what it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, guys, look at us. It's 12 minutes after 9, and we have been here just chatting away. Audience, thank you so much for you. You guys are awesome for your participation. And please share this video. Share. If you're on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow it. YouTube is a beast to grow. It is a beast to grow. And listen, next time we come together, hopefully we'll know that Kamala Harris is our next president of the United States.
Well, I did my part. I hope you ladies do the same if you haven't voted already.
I did it last Sunday, and I'm still trying to promote this thing. So you'll still see pictures.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting ready to go grade my papers, so my students, so they can have their material.
Okay.
See you all. Take care. Have a blessed
Congratulations. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.